individual do you expect him to kiss us on the brain when there is a layer of skin covering said brain? Unless you're talking about brain waves, in which case it would be interesting for the individual known as Goyer Mineral to send a kiss via brain wave.
Brain. Kiss Mark. A lil smooch on the neurons, father.
General, can you please kiss us on the brain, bruh? I'm begging you. Loudly crying face. Loudly crying face. Loudly crying face. Me and the boys would immensely appreciate it.
When Raphael Tamurin was emerging as a young political activist, he used to be an anarcho-communist, and was then converted to anarcho-communist. Transhumanism by his friend Alex Levine after many of their chats in the Presidio neighborhood of San Francisco. Raphael Tamurin realized out of his inquisitorial political genius that if humanity achieving singularity with artificial intelligence was inevitable, it should primarily serve the interests of humanity rather than multinational corporations. To do this, he theorized humans would have to live collectively to prevent predator multinationals from forming monopolies. Unlike the tyranny of authoritarian communists, Raphael Tamurin realized collaboration could not be forced. Cooperation was the basis of society, but from his prior works as an anarchist he realized that the synthesis of communism and transhumanism could only be achieved through free agreement in an anarchist society, hence anarcho-communist transhumanism. This is inherently what the Raphael Tamurin lens is. It is a synthesis theory of anarchism, communism, and transhumanism. Raphael Tamurin's notoriety was not limited to political theory. He was also a spiritual practitioner of Raphael Tamurin thought, and a healer. As an anarchist he believed in anarchism's utopian design, and in this utopian goal, it was suggested by him that anarchism gave him the powers to heal any sickness, mend any disease, and put a stopper in any discomfort. After Raphael Tamurin's passing, medical professionals saw tapping into Raphael Tamurin's abilities and skills necessary to humanity's survival. They partnered with the political theorists to first apply anarchism, which would hopefully lead to an increase in healing remedies through Raphael Tamurin critical thought. And that's how the story ends.
If a three-dimensional political spectrum allowed for the realization of oxymoronic political ideologies like anarcho-authoritarianism, it would mean that the political spectrum would be able to accommodate a wide range of unique ideologies and belief systems that might not fit into traditional political frameworks. Anarcho-authoritarianism, for instance, would be a political ideology that combines the principles of anarchism and authoritarianism, which on the surface might seem contradictory or impossible. However, a three-dimensional political spectrum could allow for the recognition of this ideology, since it might align with the principles of individual liberty and strong state power. While the idea of oxymoronic political ideologies might seem confusing or unsettling, a three-dimensional political spectrum would allow for a more comprehensive understanding of the different beliefs, values, and principles that animate different individuals and groups. Rather than forcing people into fixed categories, a three-dimensional political spectrum would allow for greater diversity, tolerance, and cross-ideological dialogue, allowing individuals to learn from each other and possibly find common ground in unexpected ways. Ultimately, a three-dimensional political spectrum would promote a more sophisticated and nuanced political discourse that better reflects the diversity and complexity of the modern world.
Soulism is the philosophy that the laws of physics are inherently oppressive to the individual since no one consents to abide by them when they're born. Soulists push for humanity to find ways to oppose reality. Soulists believe this is possible through advanced technology or spiritual enlightenment.
It's interesting to hear about the perspective that the laws of physics can be oppressive to individuals. Soulism seems to be suggesting that people should strive to overcome the constraints of the physical world, either through technological advancements or spiritual enlightenment. While it's important to acknowledge the limitations of the physical world, it's also important to recognize the ways in which these laws can be beneficial and necessary for our survival and well-being. It's also worth considering how we can work within these constraints to create a better world for ourselves and others.